Hi, Dallas. Good to talk to you again. It's been a little bit since we've connected. We sent you the report a few months ago. How are things going at the Prairie Aviation Training Center there?
It's going really well. We did see a small decline in student numbers over COVID, and now as restrictions have largely gone away, the students' numbers looking into the future, we're projecting are going to continue to rise, which is great. It's the summertime now, and one of the busiest times of the year for us, trying to take advantage of the good weather.
Oh, the good weather,
and
right?
so the students are flying every day, and it's really good. It's going well.
Yeah. Well, can you take a minute just to tell me a little bit more about the center? And with the ministry that you do there, just a little bit of background there.
All right. So Prairie Aviation Training Center is a part of Prairie College, and it started, this is actually our 30th year. It started in 1992. Okay. Wow. So we've been training aviators since 1992. Right. There were a few pilots back in the day who saw the need to start something here in Canada that was focused on training aviators for being professional bush pilots and to fly in mission aviation throughout the world. Prairie College and Mission Aviation Fellowship of Canada signed an agreement and partnered together. And so Mission Aviation Fellowship now runs and manages the flight school. The majority of the instructors are MAF pilots who have served overseas on the field. And then we always hire a few of our graduates as well and allow them to build their hours here, again, kind of under our discipleship and tutelage. So that they can move from here into MAF and then go serve overseas. So
how? Tell me a little bit about the goals, hopes, dreams that you guys had, and how did EMI get involved with that?
As you're probably aware, coming out of COVID now, the demand in the industry is probably higher than it's ever been since the Wright brothers, to be perfectly honest.
Sure.
You just have to travel through Toronto Airport and you will understand the need for pilots.
Right. Because many retired too, right? I mean, people who
absolutely.
They were closing in at the end of the career and just called it a day, and that was it.
Yeah. The challenge for us is how do you grow? Because there's substantial financial investment needed to grow a flight school. Airplanes aren't cheap and running them is not cheap. So it often feels a little bit like a chicken and egg situation where do we put the money out there and grow our ability to provide more training, or do we wait for the students to come and then try to play catch up? And so as we were looking at where we are now and the feeling of we're really getting squeezed, it's getting cramped and tight here in our current facility. Even looking out the window to my office right now, I can see several of our airplanes that are in maintenance, and they're just squished in there to the point where although the maintenance techs can work on the planes, it's not ideal by any stretch. We've been talking about it for a few years and even reached out to a few different contracting companies. This was several years ago now, and they had given us a price, but we didn't really have any details about what we wanted or really what we needed. So I had been in Uganda when EMI was building our terminal building there.
Right.
And so it was really familiar with EMI. Exactly. So cool. We share a building there. And, I've been there and, probably eaten lunch upstairs with some of your colleagues there.
Absolutely, for sure.
And so really familiar with EMI and the work you guys do. Okay. And so I thought, this seems like something that's worth reaching out to. So reached out to you guys and we decided that a needs assessment was in order. And so you guys put a team together and came out here several times. We did some interviews, tour of the place to try to give a good idea of what we do here and what our current capacity is. And then you guys put together that needs assessment for us based on the request of what would it take to double our current numbers. We also gave you a few unique asks as well, because we would love to get a larger aircraft as well, which we don't have the capacity for right now. And then you guys developed your report, sent it to us, and it's been actually very useful so far. It's been through the Prairie College Board, it's been to the MAF board, and it's basically, it's giving us that first little step that we needed. Okay, now we have a pretty good idea what we actually need. We're not guessing. We're not just kind of saying, okay, let's
Right.
do another one of what we have and hope that it will work. I actually went to the Prairie board earlier this year, and our new hangar, as we're calling it, had been on their radar, but was fairly low on the priority list for fundraising. And with this report, I was able to get it bumped up to number 2 on the Prairie College list. And this is the 100th year of Prairie College. And so they have their centennial fundraising campaign, where their goal is to raise $100 million towards expansion of the campus and renewal. And so we're number 2 on that list now.
I think part of the, what we're trying to also bring to your team as we were going through the whole visit and questionnaires and everything was, it seemed that it was, that the process was able to get all the voices from your different team members out, right, and onto paper and unified and united in a way that was, then we were able to, when we put numbers to it and drew the diagrams and all that, it became something that your whole team can kind of rally around, right, and see.
Right. And one of the things that we kind of landed on that you guys brought to the table in the second meeting was the idea of either a campus type development or another hangar with a connector building in the middle, because we also have needs outside of the hangar for increased classroom space, something for a chapel space, more office space for the instructors and things like that. And so you brought a couple of options in your report to us that we really like.
And you've been out in the field, and how do you see us helping you guys and you guys being able to grow? What is exciting for you as a missionary out there doing the flying, to know that the impact that's going to ripple effect out in the field?
So much. Where do I start? I guess I'll start with engineering again. So the need for engineering throughout MAF, which is what I'm familiar with, of course, but I assume through most of mission aviation or all of mission aviation, the need for engineers is huge. More guys want to be pilots typically than want to be engineers. And it's tough to get engineers. And so since the partnership with MAF here, we've started our apprenticeship training program where apprentice engineers can come and do their practical requirement here in our hangar. So right now, with the hangar the size it is, we have 2 apprentices right now, and that's basically as much as we can handle. And so if we were to have another hangar and then have this hangar set up for maintenance only, the dream has often been to set up a full maintenance program where we do classroom instruction and things like that for maintenance training as well, which is totally off the table right now with this facility. But with that expansion, it starts to become something that might be possible. And so that's, having people come through here, I assume it would be a lot like what happens with pilots, being able to do their training in an environment that's so supportive of mission aviation, being trained by guys who have been overseas and been there. They've breathed the dust in the air and they've experienced all that stuff. It does build excitement. We see it with our student pilots. Inevitably, with most classes, there's 1 or 2 that have come here just looking for commercial aviation. And 5-6 years from now, and they're headed overseas with a mission aviation agency, which is tremendous. And so we would love to see that with engineers as well. And like I said, right now that's not possible. But with another hangar, it becomes closer to reality.
So what I'm hearing is that even the whole sophistication level of what you're able to offer, it grows, right? Because just the capacity, your capacity in all different ways.
We've always been only pilots, and now there's it's still in the future. But with another facility, there is the possibility that we can do engineers as well, which is a huge need, like I said. Moving from engineering to the pilot side of it, MAF still has a need for pilots. And, as much as we'd love to be that school that has 100% of our grads that are going overseas, we do acknowledge that not God doesn't call everyone to overseas ministry,
Sure.
but he does call us all to ministry. And so
Right.
one of the things that we do try to focus on here is not just mission aviation, but aviation is mission. And so
wherever they are, even if it is with the commercial airlines, right? I mean,
exactly.
That's their mission field. Yeah,
those commercial airlines, that's a pretty dark place, spiritually speaking. And having well-grounded Bible-based graduates going out there into the industry there, we believe will make a difference.
As EMI, we've worked with MAF on a number of airfields in different places. I was just in Liberia, so the new facilities that we designed and built for you guys there. That's fantastic. Right. And I know that for me going out, there's a lot of times there are places that I can't get to without MAF and other sort of mission flyers, and so that the work is to get us into those little pockets of places that commercial airlines don't get to. It's really, really, really important, and so that's really awesome.
Wow. Yep. A couple other things that I'll quickly mention. One is It's been MAF's kind of one thing that's been on our radar for a long time is Northern Canada, because there's a lot of isolated people living in our own country up there. Right. And they have exactly the same issues, in a lot of those reservations, the quality of life is not great. The quality of healthcare is not great. Their ability to travel is non-existent in the summer, and airplanes can provide that. So MEF has tried in the past, and I'm hearing more and more talk of trying to get something going again here in the near future. And so for us having mission trained pilots with Canadian licenses, I mean, there's no visa requirement, there's no license additional licensing required. So having something that we could potentially tie really closely to what's going on here at Prairie is exciting. The other thing that's really exciting is several years ago, Mongolia National University reached out to Mark Maxwell at the college and said, hey, is there any programs you offer that we might be able to partner with?
Wow.
And send Mongolian students to you. Right. The idea there of exposing young Mongolian people to the gospel for the first time. And so kind of what all shook out was, hey, we have this aviation program. And so just a couple of weeks ago, we sent off a proposed MOU to them for a test group of students to come here next September, a test group of 8. And if that would be successful and we'd be building that, we're looking at, 10 years, 12 years down the road, potentially having 100 Mongolian students a year come here. Wow. If that would happen, the need for additional space here just magnifies, because we're on a whole new level. If that project would take off as is theoretically possible, we're looking, absolutely, like I said, 10 years from now, potentially another runway here. Multiple hangars, a fleet of aircraft that's bigger than anything we've ever envisioned before. And I'm sure we would be coming back to you guys for that. Well, because just the thought of that is almost overwhelming.
Because at the Three Hills Airport, there is space. There's potential for increased capacity, and as you say, they are talking about another runway, and and I love the partnership that you have with Prairie. That you bring in your expertise and do what you do and do what you love to do, and that adds to them as a college, and so it's all fantastic. It's a great partnership.
Absolutely, and I know I'm tooting my own horn here a little bit, but with several of our current students, I asked them, what was the draw? Why PATC instead of another flight school? And several of them just straight up said, well, you guys are the best. We want the best, and you're the best, and that's why we're here. Awesome. And so we're trying to be the best. I don't know if we are or we aren't. We believe we set a very high standard, and that our graduates are highly trained and qualified. But that's what we want. We think that by doing things as best as we can, we're not just doing that to pass flight tests and things like that, but we're doing that to bring glory to God. Absolutely. And to instill that in our students as well as they go out throughout the world is great.
Right. And what we say at EMI is our goal is to help you be excellent. So if we're excellent and we can do excellence for you, you're going to be excellent. And you're doing it now with what you have. And I can just imagine with the added facilities that work for you, that have been tailored and thought about and visioned by your team. you know that you can fill that space and to do amazing things there. So we're going to continue to walk with you through the next steps, which is, finding design professionals, and EMI is connected with many design professionals in Canada. So we're already going to start to walk that out with you and beside you. And so our journey continues.
Absolutely.
With PATC, and we too, as EMI Canada, are starting to do work here in Canada and talking to very actively communities in the north. And even this fall, I'm just thinking, I might need a flyer to get me up to a pretty remote community.
Oh man, that would be tremendous.
That'd be a lot of fun. So it'd be fantastic. So we've flown MAF into Africa. I'd love to do it right here in Canada, and we continue to expand the horizons of missions and make impacting communities all over the world. So,
for sure.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Dallas. That's a wonderful update, and we look forward to continuing to walk this out with you and all the days ahead. So all the best to you, and prayers to you and your team, and all the best. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Greg, and thank you so much for what you've brought to us already. It's been tremendously important already and useful to us.
Okay, thank you.